all right. I want to welcome everyone again to another episode of the NetOps Expert, where we talk all things IT, especially network monitoring, management, observability, visibility, whatever you want to call it. Once again, my name is Jeremy Rossback with Broadcom, and I am the Chief Technical Evangelist for our NetOps solution here. Again, as I mentioned in a previous webcast and podcast, that Nestor Falcone will be joining me. Today, he's going to talk about the top 5 ways to troubleshoot modern network performance today and why it's so important. But again, Nestor, please introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a little bit about you and what you've been doing at Broadcom lately.
Yeah, hi Jeremy. Thank you for having me here. Always a pleasure. Nestor Falcone. I'm a solution architect based in Barcelona, Spain, and I work in the Broadcom AOD division in the NetOps. Pretty much working with customers on different projects for network adoption, network monitoring, and listening to the challenges and trying to help wherever we see fit with our NetOps capabilities.
So we're just going to get right into it. The top 5 ways to troubleshoot modern network performance advised by Broadcom here. So again, before we jump into the number 1 way, tell me why it's so important today to be able to quickly troubleshoot modern network performance. Remind our users, remind our audience out there the network complexity that our customers are dealing with today.
Yeah, great point. So what we have seen in the last years is like network is getting virtualized and complex as never before, right? Like in the early 2000, it was the infrastructure that was virtualized. Now what we're seeing is that we are running network components on commodity hardware more and more. We are actually virtualizing, setting an overlay of the network pretty much for every connection. And that is bringing, no doubt, a lot of benefit for us in terms of speed, capacity, security. But at the same time, it is introducing complexity. We have now more layers to monitor, more layers for the observability. And it has a direct impact in how much time it takes to troubleshoot it, because now we need to understand, hey, it's not a single pipe between the data center and the office. Now we have so many different components, wireless, access network, SD-WAN, cloud, SaaS. So it can take about 20, 30 minutes to understand only the source of a problem. So it's fundamental to have visibility. We need to have clear triage, intelligent workflows to be able to accelerate troubleshooting in modern networks to quickly avoid and reduce the downtime.
So you're saying just like networking and network technologies have greatly advanced over the years in what they do, how they do it, even making decisions on our own, we need to advance our network triage processes and practices to meet that complexity and even exceed it, so we're more proactive. So let's get into the top 5 ways Nestor and Broadcom recommends to troubleshoot these modern complex networks. And the first one I have in your blog is proactive notification on network delivery of cloud applications. Tell us what that is and how do we do it?
Excellent. Yes. So in current way to operate business, we can no longer be reactive, right? That means that it's too late for us. We already have the downtime. We are already losing money. So it's fundamental to have any solution to have technology or means to detect the problem before the user do, right? Before it impacts the business. So the point number 1 would be to achieve this proactive detection of problems of network delivery. And it can be cloud application, legacy, SD-WAN, etc. What is needed for that? What it takes? We normally need to sit from the user standpoint and launch synthetic transaction to emulate what the users are doing. And this should be 24/7. We cannot wait until we have a peak in the traffic. We need to be able to emulate what users are doing, trigger any kind of synthetic testing that is consuming network services over modern networks all day long. And as soon as they see an anomaly, a degradation, to be able to generate a proactive notification. So it's telling the network operating center, we are detecting some issues here that might impact your business. So what should we do next? How do we troubleshoot that? That would be step number 1. Give me the heads up, give me the event proactively before it impacts the business. And that is not easy to achieve. There is a lot of technology involved to get that knowledge, to get that insight before the users do it.
You mentioned, this is about the delivery of cloud experiences, which obviously is outside the four walls of our traditional data centers, which again gets into that topic of network delivery today crosses more unmanaged networks than managed networks. And a lot of our customers, you said there's different technologies in that cloud delivery experience. One technology that is part of that cloud delivery experience is SD-WAN. Now, I know from various reports and talking to our customers that all, if not most, of our customers out there, over 80%, are deploying SD-WAN for various reasons, whether it's secure application delivery or failover and redundancy of dedicated circuits and the use of internet for application delivery, or cost reduction. While a lot of folks are deploying SD-WAN technologies today, I know for a fact from recent reports that less than a third or even less than 20% are seeing full success of their SD-WAN deployments. Now, the second way that you talk about in your blog of being able to troubleshoot modern network performance is to validate SD-WAN health. Now, validate is a really crucial word there. The promise of SD-WAN is automated route changes and secure application delivery. So if the SD-WAN technology is going to automatically route over the traffic over the best route for that end user, why do we need to validate it that it's doing it at all? What does validate mean when it comes to network management and monitoring processes and procedures?
Great question, Jeremy. And you're right, SD-WAN is becoming the technology of choice for network delivery, mostly because it is cheaper than MPLS, it's much more flexible, it can actually route automatically, it's secure as well. But if we think about it, it runs over an unreliable underlay, which is the internet. So we really need to validate that if I have a tunnel between EMEA and US, that tunnel is delivering the expected SLAs and network metrics. So that is point number one. We need to validate those SLAs to understand that, hey, I'm running critical part of my business over SD-WAN. I need to make sure that SLAs are met and that I have quality enough. Point number two, it is extremely complex. We are talking to customers that have thousands of tunnels, so it's not easy to manage. How do we achieve that visibility into a single pane of glass to understand if there is a tunnel degraded, how the solution is maybe balancing the data, the traffic over a different tunnel and so on. So bringing all that data into the network operating center in a vendor agnostic fashion, it's critical. We need that unified view to support my business, to make sure that the network delivery is working as expected and that the users are having the expected level of network delivery.
It's a wonderful point. And I was just thinking while you were talking, not that I was multitasking, which I'm definitely doing most of the day anyway. We talk about, or let's say this, new software-defined and new networking technologies that are out there today, they promise things will be easier for network teams. But the fact is that unless you understand how to remove the complexity of these new networking technologies, it can make your life easier, but it's not out of the box. We need to understand, think back in the 90s when we were first deploying virtual servers. I mean, when I was racking and stacking, it would take all day, if not days, to rack mount a bunch of servers and cable them and configure them and test them. And now with right click and deploy VM, you can deploy hundreds of servers in minutes. That is the nirvana of server virtualization, when we've removed all the complexity of it first, right? When we've built the configuration templates for that servers, when we've bought the hardware, the ESS hosts or et cetera, to host those virtual machines, when we've installed the additional power needed to run all those hundreds, if not thousands of virtual machines, removing that complexity first, working at it, building processes and procedures around it, you will achieve that nirvana of easy well, maybe not easy. Everything is complex in today IT, but easier way to manage virtualization, even if it's network virtualization, like what we're
Yeah, we
dealing with
like it or
today.
not, we are removing the human factor, which is many times a source of issues, right? So if we can automate
Yes.
it or validate, that is a key point as well.
Very good. All right, let's move on to the top third reason, or excuse me, the top third way to troubleshoot complex network delivery today. And you talk about isolating error domains. So explain what an error domain is. Explain why the multiple error domains that make up today's new network delivery path look so different than they did, decades ago when everything was in the four walls of our data center.
Excellent. So yeah, decades ago, we could have maybe an MPLS line between the data center and the office, direct, secure, connect, expensive, a lot of time to implement it as well. Right now, the data center is distributed. We have application running everywhere. One piece in the edge, one piece in the cloud. It's delivered over the internet. So that means that you said it, we have multiple domains, starting in the customer network or here the wireless in my home. Then we talk about the last mile ISP. Then we could go over an SD-WAN overlay and maybe a third-party ISP and then cloud and SaaS. So think about it. It's massive, the hubs, the nodes that we are traversing to get or to deliver a network experience. So we have been talking about before, hey, we need to get a proactive notification. We need to inspect that SD-WAN is healthy and delivering, but it's much more than that. SD-WAN will only cover edge to edge. That is one domain, but behind those edges, we have wireless access network, software-defined data center technologies like Cisco DNAC, ACI, VMware NSXT. So in all those hubs, we need to understand that the network is behaving as expecting. So it's fundamental. We can run a test or a synthetic transaction between A and B, and understanding any of those segments is producing data loss or jitter or not having enough capacity. And the only way we have to do that is to run tests or simulate user experience over all those domains. I'm not saying we're going to fix it. I'm not saying they're going to say, hey, silver bullet here, but at least it's going to tell us where do we need to start working. And again, it's going to have a direct impact in the meantime to repair and quickly point us in the right direction to put our resources in that last mile ISP or in that cloud SaaS application. So that would be how we can leverage Agneta to isolate the error domain, and that is huge value. Bringing user experience metrics into the network operating center, it would be great.
You mentioned being able to quickly understand where to start focusing our troubleshooting and triage efforts in the network. But if it's not within my data center or what I manage, and it's in the ISP or cloud provider, and I'm setting you up here for a big softball, but we call that in the industry mean time to innocence, right? Or mean time to insight. Innocence to the fact that we have proven it's not our infrastructure that we manage, but outside of our error domain that we can manage, but also the insights to not only prove that innocence, but to find the root cause of that issue in another provider's network. So you can point them quickly to the issue. So just a little plug there for MTTI. That was great.
Hold on, Jeremy. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go for it.
Last we were in a customer in Germany, and they told us exactly what you said. They said when they cannot understand the root of the issue, the problem finish on our table in the network operating center. So if we could have a mechanism to say it is not us before we put 5 guys into or girls looking into the problem, it could be gold for us, because that is hours of time that we save. So give me a tool, give me a solution that can help me to accelerate the network when nobody knows and they just point to the network, right?
Yeah, and it's so funny. You brought up a really good point. It makes me laugh. But you know what? Us network guys, we've been the blame of issues for decades. Oh, it's a network. It's always a network. The network is slow. I'm trying to download something on my phone and it's taking a while. Oh my God, this wireless network at this Starbucks stinks. or whatever ISP you have must be having issues on the East Coast today because this is taking forever. It's nice to be able to be like, hey, I can prove to you it's not us. I swear to God, it's not the network. Look, that feels good even after all these years.
It does. It does. I would pay for that. I would pay for that.
I know that is nirvana, just to be able to say it's not me. Anyway, let's move on to the fourth way. The fourth way to troubleshoot modern network complexity. You talk about contextual performance, flow, and configuration for root cause determination. I think most of our listeners understand performance, flow, configuration for root cause issues, but contextual performance, flow, and configuration for root cause. What does that mean?
Yeah, great question as usual, Jeremy. So we end up troubleshooting the modern network. We say, hey, if the problem is not in my data center, at least I can pinpoint an innocent. But what if the problem is in your data center? If it is in your domain, then you need to fix it. So to do that, we need to be a solution that is able to offer you all the information at your fingertips in a consolidated fashion. And here is where we talk about contextual data. Let's say Abneta pinpoint to the issue being in our data center in an access switch. If we can now go to the single pane of glass of NetOps, go to that switch and access in context to performance of that switch. Is it CPU? Is it memory? Do we have any specific problem on after a new firmware rollout? Or let's look at the uplink interfaces. Do we have too many discards there? Do I have maybe a high usage? There have been any security breach that could have maybe compromised this switch? So having all that data together with flow as well, we talk about flow, the way for the switch or the router to send that data to NetOps to say the traffic or the applications going through me, it's Zoom meetings or WebEx or SNMP or any other technology that give us an understanding of what kind of applications are being routed by that component. So I know what is actually the bandwidth being used for. And finally, configuration. We have talked about in the same pane of glass, performance data, flow, and configuration all together. I can guarantee you that there are almost no solution in the market that can offer all that in a single pane of glass. So that's going to give us huge value for the network operating center operator to clear or to understand if the issue comes from the device performance, configuration, etc. And once I have that all together, I can act quickly to react. I can create a ticket and say, hey, we have noticed that there was a configuration rollout yesterday, and since that problem, we have noticed a data loss increase. So giving the network operator center the right data, the right insights quickly, it's goal to reduce downtime and to get problems fixed quickly.
So, you may have all this data, performance flow, fault logs, configs, etc. But some of our customers could have it in different tool sets. So, we all call that swivel chair monitoring, where you got to go to this tool and to look at performance, and that tool to look at fault, and this tool to look at flow. Again, that adds time and complexity to troubleshooting an outage. But Nestor, so I love to cook, love being in the kitchen. I enjoy taking all these ingredients and making them into one, delicious dish for my family. But Nestor, if I have 8 out of the 10 ingredients for my recipe, the dish is not going to come out the same. It's not going to taste the same, right? So if you're collecting fault performance and flow and configs, alarms and alerts, but you're not looking at logs, what if the issue that you're troubleshooting, say it's a hardware failure on a switch and it's only being written to the device's syslog? Mm-hmm. You're still going to be looking for a needle in a haystack, right? You're not going to be able to find that rapid analysis. You're missing that ingredient of network management and monitoring and troubleshooting that is delaying the success of finding that root cause. So not only is it so important, and this goes back to the episode you and I did around rapid and accurate isolation of network performance issues, is data. Not how much data you're collecting, but what you're collecting, how you're analyzing it, and how you're surfacing it to the NOC, so they can easily say, performance looks great. I don't see any device outages. Flow is not a huge concern right now, but if I look at the logs, I quickly understand that there's an anomaly in the log and something seems to be out of whack. Who knows how much time I would have spent without those syslogs troubleshooting that issue.
You are spot on, Jeremy. That is the cherry, right, to achieve operational excellence, because like it or not, 2024, we're still looking at logs and syslogs, right? Nothing new there. So that
Exactly,
is
isn't that crazy? I know.
The last result where, hey, CPU is good, memory is good, let's look at the logs. And going back to your example, you like to cook, you're in the kitchen, you're missing ingredients. I could compare NetOps to the kitchen of Master Chef, right? They have absolutely everything, at the fingertips. They can choose where to pick, what to pick, right? And that is the holy grail of any cook or any network operator, having all in a single console, including syslogs.
Exactly. To make that perfect dish, All right, we're towards the end of our episode here, and we are at the 5th way to accurately troubleshoot network performance issues in today's modern networks. So the last way, or at least I should say the top 5th way that we recommend, Nestor, you talk about auto remediation workflows for self-healing. I'm in marketing, and that even sounds like a lot of fluff to me. I mean, is self-healing automation a reality for network operations teams today? And how do we achieve it? How do we start?
Great question as usual, Jeremy. If rapid isolation is hard, we can imagine about self-remediation and self-healing, right? That is the North Star of many customers, and it requires a huge level of maturity. So let's put it that way. And to get it, we need 2 key components: standardization and automation. That is fundamental. And to achieve that, you need to start by consolidating all the data, having intelligent triage workflows, and that will be the only way we can standardize the way we create tickets, we look at issues, and that's going to relieve a lot of pressure on the NOC, because in the end, maintaining a NOC and training the NOC, it's very expensive. So the more we automate, the more we standardize, the more we can reduce the OPEX and free up level 2 and level 3 engineers for innovation to build the next competitive differentiator. And in the end, it all has an impact on better user experience. That's going to drive more revenue, elevate your network operation to the next level, and really achieve that excellence that we have been talking about. To achieve this auto remediation, some key capabilities are needed. You need to have a solution that is open, extensible, that have ways to invoke webhooks, open APIs. We already provide config management to repair non-compliant device configurations, but it's fundamental that the solution can generate insights and trigger workflows in pretty much in any automation solution that can accept this push, these webhooks, etc. So I know it sounds very unachievable, but as we said, it's the North Star of most of the customers we talk to, achieving that self-healing and auto remediation.
That's right. Take your time, follow certain steps, look for low-hanging fruit for your NOC successes, whether you start with consolidating your data into one unified model, and then utilizing that data as a jumping platform to a lot of these other use cases that we've talked about. Nestor, again, it's always such a joy to talk to you. I know that I'm going to have you back on other topics around network observability from Broadcom. But again, for those folks watching or listening, I invite you to click the link in the show notes for Nestor's blog that talks around these 5 ways to troubleshoot modern network complexity. And Nestor, again, thank you so much for joining us. And I invite all our listeners to join us on the next episode of the NetOps Expert.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, everyone.